So let's open Excel and load the file DAX Basic Calculations. If I go into Power Pivot, I'm going to go into Manage. I already loaded data into the data model in Power Pivot, and I'm going to move my cursor up here into Add Column. Adding new columns is one of two ways to extend a data set with derived metrics that you can use in dashboards and pivot tables. There are multiple reasons why you may need further columns, including the following: concatenating data from two existing columns into one new column, performing basic calculations for every row in the table, such as adding or subtracting the data in two or more columns, extracting date elements such as the month or year from a date column and adding them as a new column. Indeed, the list could go on. Creating columns is a bit like building an Excel formula that you then copy down the entire column. Over here in the Add column, I'm going to set the equal sign. And now the equal sign, I'm going to add a +5. And I'll just hit by Enter, and you'll notice down here we've got a new column called Calculated Column. Let's rename the column to Integer. Resize it a little bit. If you create new columns, you'll need to give them new names. Inevitably, there are a few minor limitations on the names you can apply. So rather than have Excel cause problems, I prefer to explain the overall guidelines on the Excel naming conversions earlier rather than later in this course of the lesson. The first thing to remember is that the column names have to be unique inside each table. Therefore, you cannot have two columns with the same name inside the same table. You can, however, have two columns that share a name if they are in separate tables. However, I generally advise that you try to keep column names unique across all tables in an Excel file if you possibly can. This can make building an output based on the data model easier and safer because you do not run the risk of using a column from the wrong table in a chart, for instance, and getting entirely inappropriate results as a consequence. The essential point of note is that columns cannot contain any of the following: spaces unless the spaces are enclosed by brackets or single apostrophes. The following characters. Fortunately, all column names are not case sensitive. All the restrictions that concern column names also apply to measures, which you will learn about in the next section. Come over into the next column, type equal, +sign, add a text field, and that will be 5. Enter and rename it to a text number. Come over into the next column, equal, double quote, put in Canada and hit Enter. Rename it to text. Okay, now highlight the next empty column and type equal plus integer plus order date. If you look at this date of the 1st of January 2011 and the 6th of January, so it added 5. In the next column, we will use the text number and we'll see if the cast actually works. Equal, and I'm going to go to plus bracket, order date, plus bracket, and we're going to find the text number. Hit enter, and it works. So the implicit cast from a string over to a whole number worked. Finally, if I add these two columns, order date and text, enter, and it threw us an error with a yellow exclamation icon. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to improve your skills, consider subscribing. Don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out when I put new videos here. Thanks for watching.